Because in my mind, especially as a singer, I was a singer-songwriter, still am for fun. And the body is the instrument when you're a singer. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, let me optimize my body. Let me work out, eat right, meditate, do all the breath work, right? These things that are healthy for my mind and body because it's almost like making sure that you're taking care of your instrument. You want the guitar, the piano to be tuned and properly refurbished or whatever it is taken care of. And I was reading philosophy books too. And it was just weird. It was like I left school. I'm like, I don't like learning. I'm tired of school. I've been doing it my whole life. So then like reading, Carl Jung, falling all the way down the rabbit hole of Carl Jung. Nietzsche was interesting for a little bit, but he's a little intense. And then just reading a lot of books on spirituality and philosophy, um, and kind of falling down that rabbit hole. And I found myself doing more of that work than music. I was spending a lot more time getting up and working out and focusing on, Wim Hof breath work and, fasting and all these things, cold showers as opposed to actually creating music. And so then COVID hits and the music industry shuts down and I'm a server, in Los Angeles. So obviously that shuts down, kind of forces me to reevaluate a lot of things. And so I spent that summer literally just going hiking every day and just meditating and thinking um, and decided I want to go back to school to become a therapist and get into the mental health space. But there also is another edge to it with, I mean, do we talk about plant medicines? Is that cool? Can I?
We can talk about anything. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so then so the big thing too, I mean, I've been kind of tiptoeing around is plant medicines. And so when I was out in Los Angeles, got into psilocybin mushrooms and I mean completely opened my eyes to
So you may be surprised to know this is not the first time this topic has come up on
Yeah.
good.
Pandas playing cello. No, we
Good.
had in our archives we have a whole episode.
Oh, really?
Someone who went to Amsterdam
Mm,
Yes.
for therapy, yes, for a whole therapy program.
yeah.
A
Psychedelic
group
therapy.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very formal compared to what I did, which was going out
Okay.
into going out into Runyon Canyon and doing it in the sun. But it opened my eyes to one major thing was how as an adult I'd lost a lot of the joy that I had as a kid and how many adults lose that joy.
Mhm.
And I had remembered during that time period of when I was a kid, I used to look at adults and see how rigid and overly structured and limited the existence was. And I obviously I wasn't thinking that fully. I was just like, oh, the way that my child mind perceived it was, oh, adults are so goofy. Like, oh, adults are so goofy. Like, why are they so weird? Like, when I'm an adult, I don't want to be like that. And then I
Yes, I
remember,
used to tell myself like little notes like, Julia, remember when you're an adult, try to be fun.
yes, yeah,
Don't
don't
lose
lose that fear.
playfulness.
Yeah, and I mean, I totally was taking myself way too seriously, totally lost in the sauce, lost in my own head. And when I did it, when I did, psilocybin, I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like I remember what it felt like to be a kid again. I remembered the promises I'd made to myself as a kid to not turn out the ways that I did. And it just opened my eyes to a whole other reality of okay, things can be different. It doesn't have to be this way. The way that I'm perceiving the world, the way that I'm moving through life, it doesn't have to be this way. It is, and it can be, but it also doesn't have to be. And that was really eye-opening. It was kind of at its core and fundamentally, I just think that it just provided me a choice that I
Mm.
didn't think I had.
And so the choice was between,
Having fun and enjoying life
and
or allowing the external circumstances to dictate my mental health and to just think that life is not fun. It's not magical. There's not magic to be had here.
Mhm.
That was the major thing growing up is that you have, especially me, I've always had high expectations with music, right? I mean, you don't become a musician unless you have high expectations, right? It's not like it's kind of either you make it or you don't, it's not becoming like a lawyer where it's like, I can make six figures and be okay. It's like, oh, I got to be famous and big. So life was full of a lot of high expectations and then sometimes experiencing it and being, oh, this is not nearly as magical as I thought in my head.
Mhm.
Or not achieving that thing and then being like, oh, okay, well, that just doesn't happen to a person like me or whatever the scenario is.
Mhm.
And kind of more seeing magic in everyday life, but then also seeing how I've been placing limitations on my own ability to perceive. that magic.
Yeah. Can you help everyone get better at that, please? Maybe.
I mean, I mean, I was guiding people. We were doing it at Malibu and Joshua Trees like was the main spot, and it really is just kind of it's really simple. I think one problem that
I don't
my
even necessarily mean through like psilocybin. I
mm,
mean like just generally like when you get your full-fledged therapy degree, whatever it is. What are you looking for an MSW? Is that what you're going for?
yeah.
Yeah, your master's in social work. Okay, so when you get that, can you maybe you can like specialize in helping people come back to their aliveness.
Sounds fun. Yeah, I could very much do that for sure.
I really
Yeah.
want you to.
No, remaining playful as an adult is something I talk about a lot, and it is very important to me. This is not the first time I've shared the anecdote that when I worked in an office, someone came into my office and said, "Carmen, your office looks like a pediatrician's waiting room,"
No.
because I had all sorts of toys everywhere. And I was highly complimented by that. I mean, because that's what I was trying to achieve, I guess.
Yeah, we all have that inner child. I mean, it really kind of comes down to inner child work, right? And so that's really what it
You
is.
know, and I think you know this, I'm sure better than I do, and Julia too, that playfulness or playing is how we learn,
Mm,
as toddlers and as all sorts of mammals learn by playing. And so one I feel compelled to ask the question, when we stop playing, do we stop learning?